What if I told you, Elena whispered, that the woman who nearly killed my mother is my own aunt? Her coworker gasped, the spoon slipping from her hand. For years, Elena kept that secret buried. The humiliation, the betrayal, the unpaid labor. But tonight, she was finally ready to tell the world how she turned pain into power and how karma found its way back home. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. Like and drop a comment below. Would you have accepted Madame Vero's offer? Or walked away, no matter the cost? The rain wouldn't stop that night. It slammed against the clinic roof as if heaven itself was angry. Elena pushed through the crowd at the entrance, half carrying her mother, Miriam, whose breathing came in short, painful gasps. "Please, someone help me," she cried out, her voice shaking. A tired nurse pointed toward an empty bed. "Lay her there. The doctor will come." Elena did as she was told, her hands trembling. Her mother's body was burning with fever. Each cough sounded like it tore through her chest. The doctor arrived minutes later, wiping sleep from his eyes. "How long has she been like this?" 3 days, Elena whispered. "She got worse tonight. Please, just help her." He frowned, flipping through his chart. "She needs antibiotics and oxygen immediately. But we can't proceed without a deposit." Elena blinked. "Deposit, 25,000 naira. Minimum," he said flatly. Her heart sank. 25,000 might as well have been 1,000,000. She looked at her purse. A few crumpled notes and coins. Not enough even for a meal. "Doctor, I don't have it now," she said, her voice breaking. "But I'll pay, I swear. Just help her." The doctor sighed. "We'll do what we can tonight, but by morning, you must settle the bill." As he left, Elena held her mother's hand tightly. Miriam's eyes fluttered open. "Elena, don't cry." "I'm not," she lied, blinking back tears. "You'll be fine, Mama. I'll find the money." Outside, thunder rolled. She stepped into the rain without an umbrella, her thin blouse clinging to her skin. She had no one left to turn to, except the one person she had sworn never to beg again. Madame Vero. Her aunt. Her father's sister. The woman who smiled at the funeral and left with their only inheritance. But tonight, pride had no place. By dawn, Elena stood at the tall iron gate of Madame Vero's mansion, rain dripping from her hair. The guard recognized her immediately. "Elena Oba, you're back. I need to see Madame," she said firmly. "She doesn't like early visitors," the guard muttered, but when he saw her soaked and desperate, he hesitated. "Wait here." The gate creaked open a few minutes later. A maid led her inside to the grand sitting room. Everything looked the same. Marble floors, golden drapes, chandeliers brighter than the sun. Madame Vero appeared from the staircase in her silk robe, holding a cup of tea like a queen. "Well, look who the wind dragged in," she said with a smirk. Elena Obath, the prideful little girl who once said she'd never step in my house again. Elena swallowed hard. "Auntie, please. Mama is very sick. The doctor said she needs treatment immediately." "I'll do anything." "Anything," Vero interrupted, raising an eyebrow. "You mean, now you're ready to humble yourself?" Elena kept her eyes down. "Yes, Auntie." Vero circled her slowly, as if inspecting a beggar on the street. "You and your mother always thought you were better than me. But now look at you. Poor, broken, begging." Elena's throat burned, but she didn't respond. Vero sighed dramatically. "Fine. I'll help. But nothing in this world is free, Elena. You and your mother will live here in the servants' quarters. You'll work, cleaning, cooking, whatever I say, until you repay every naira I spend." Elena's lips parted in shock. "Auntie will work, but—" "No, but—" Vero's necked. "If you want help, you follow my rules. Or you can go back to the street." Elena hesitated, her dignity screaming inside her chest. But she pictured her mother lying weak in that hospital bed and nodded. "We'll do it." Vero smiled. "Ah, cruel, satisfied smile. Good. I knew you'd come around." That night, Elena returned to the clinic with the deposit. Her mother was stabilized and discharged 2 days later. When they arrived at the mansion, the maids whispered behind their backs. The servants' quarters were small, damp, and cold, but it was better than the street. Elena did everything Vero demanded. She woke before dawn, swept the hallways, washed dishes until her fingers wrinkled, and served food she couldn't eat. Vero's son, Desmond, mocked her every chance he got. "Careful with that tray," he sneered once. "Don't drop the china. It's worth more than your life." Elena ignored him, but every insult was a knife in her chest. At night, she sat by her mother's bedside, spooning her medicine gently. Miriam smiled weakly. "You shouldn't have come here, Elena." "You'd have died if I didn't," Elena whispered. "Let them laugh. It won't be forever." Days turned to weeks. Elena worked harder than anyone in that house. But no matter how much she did, Vero always found fault. "You missed a spot on the floor," she barked. "The stew is too salty. You should smile when serving guests. No one likes a gloomy maid." Elena bit her tongue through it all. Then one afternoon, while taking out the trash, she passed by the kitchen door and heard laughter. Desmond was bragging to his friends. "You should see her, the mighty Oba girl polishing shoes. Serves her right after what her father did to us." His words burned like fire. She wanted to shout, to defend her father's memory, but she kept walking. Her mother needed her strong, not angry. Later that night, while clearing dishes from a party, she overheard Vero boasting to her friends. "I told you, blood means nothing without power. They used to own land. Now they clean mine." Elena's hands shook so hard she dropped a spoon. The women turned. Silence. Vero's cold eyes met hers. "Clean it up." Elena knelt, picking the spoon from the floor. For the first time, her eyes glistened, not from sadness, but from something deeper. Resolve. That night, sitting outside under the moonlight, she whispered to herself, "This will not be my forever." She meant it. And if you're watching this right now, stay with this story, because Elena's life was about to take a turn no one saw coming. Days bled into weeks, and the mansion began to feel like a gilded cage. Elena woke before sunrise, her hands raw from soap and scrubbing. Her back ached, but she said nothing. Every breath her mother took was worth more than pride. Madame Vero's voice echoed through the hallways every morning. "Elena, bring me my tea. Not too hot this time. You nearly burned my tongue yesterday." "Yes, Auntie," Elena answered softly, carrying the tray with trembling hands. Desmond lounged on the sofa, scrolling through his phone. "You should smile when you serve," he said without looking up. "It makes you look less desperate." Elena swallowed the insult. She placed the tea gently on the table and turned to leave. But Desmond wasn't done. "Hey, maid," he called, smirking. "When you're done washing dishes, you can shine my shoes too." She didn't respond. She just walked away. But inside, she promised herself, one day they'll remember this. That night, she returned to the servants' quarters, exhausted. Her mother, Miriam, was sitting up, folding laundry. "Mama, you should rest," Elena said, rushing over. Miriam smiled faintly. "I was thinking about your father today," she murmured. "He used to say, 'Poverty is heavy, but shame is heavier.' He'd be proud of you, my child." Elena knelt beside her, tears welling up. "Proud? For scrubbing his sister's floors. For enduring," Miriam whispered. "For standing tall when life wants to bow your back." Elena held her mother's frail hands and nodded. But deep inside, she felt something burning, the kind of fire that doesn't die easily. The next week, she found a small job at a nearby beach restaurant, washing dishes at night after finishing chores at the mansion. The manager hesitated at first, but the old security guard, Mr. Lady, convinced him. "She's a good girl," he said. "You won't regret it." Mr. Lady quickly became like the father she lost. Kind, protective, full of quiet wisdom. One night, as she finished cleaning, he handed her a piece of bread wrapped in paper. "You look hungry," he said gently. Elena smiled. "You don't have to do this, sir." "I know," he said, "but sometimes we give, not because we have much, but because we know what it feels like to have nothing." Those words stayed with her. Every extra coin she earned went to her mother's medicine. And every time Madame Vero called her useless, Elena silently repeated the words, "I am not nothing." But cruelty doesn't rest. It finds new ways to test the heart. One afternoon, Vero stormed into the kitchen, her face tight with anger. "Where's my son's watch?" she barked. The gold one. It's missing. The maids froze. All eyes turned to Elena. Vero's gaze locked on her. You, she hissed. You were the last one in the living room yesterday. Elena blinked. Yes, I cleared the dishes. So you had the chance. Vero shouted. I knew it. You poor people, always pretending to be honest. Elena stepped forward, trembling. Auntie, I didn't take anything. Please, search me if you want. Vero sneered. Oh, we will. Desmond. Her son swaggered in, pretending to look sorry. I don't want to believe it, Mum, but she's been acting strange lately. Elena's eyes widened. You're lying, Desmond. You know I didn't touch. Quiet. Vero snapped. How dare you raise your voice at my son? Miriam entered then, her weak body shaking. Please, Vero, my daughter would never steal. She was raised better than that. Vero crossed her arms. Then explain where the watch went. No one spoke. The silence was heavy, broken only by the hum of the ceiling fan. Then, with a wicked smile, Desmond reached into his jacket pocket. Oh, here it is. I must have misplaced it. For a second, no one breathed. Vero's eyes flickered with embarrassment, then hardened again. Whether you took it or not, Elena, this house has had too much drama since you came. Maybe it's time you leave. Elena stared at her, disbelief and fury fighting behind her eyes. Leave? After everything I've done? After cleaning your floors, cooking your food, working day and night to repay you? Enough, Vero snapped. Take your mother and get out. I don't want to see either of you here tomorrow. Her mother coughed violently, clutching her chest. Elena rushed to her side. Mama, please sit down. But Vero turned away coldly. Don't touch the furniture. You're no longer part of this household. Elena looked at her aunt for a long moment, tears streaking her face. Then she whispered, You'll regret this cruelty one day, Auntie. Maybe not today, but you will. She helped her mother back to their tiny room and packed their few belongings. It was raining again when they stepped outside, like the sky itself was mourning with them. They found shelter under a small shed near the roadside. Miriam coughed, each sound weaker than the last. Elena tried to stay strong, holding her close. I'll find us a place, Mama. Just hold on. Please. But Miriam only smiled faintly. Don't cry, my daughter. You have something they'll never have. What's that? Elena whispered, brushing rain from her face. Peace, Miriam said softly, and a clean heart. Elena's tears mixed with the rain. I don't want peace. I just want justice. At that moment, the headlights of a small car pulled up. It was Mr. Lady, the old security guard from the restaurant. Elena, he called out, running toward them with an umbrella. What happened? She broke down, sobbing. They threw us out, sir. They said I stole something. Mr. Lady shook his head. Cool me. You and your mother can stay in my compound. It's small but safe. Elena tried to protest, but he insisted. Let me help you, child. Not everyone with money has a heart, but those of us with little can still share what we have. That night, for the first time in months, Elena slept without fear. Not comfortably, but freely. She didn't know it yet, but this was the moment her story would begin to change. And if you're still watching this far, I want to thank you. Stories like this remind us that kindness doesn't always come from family. Sometimes it comes from strangers with big hearts. Don't forget to like this video if you're feeling Elena's journey so far, and comment, never give up below to show your support before we move to the next part. The following morning, the air smelled of wet dust and dawn. Mr. Lady's compound was small, 2 tiny rooms and a shared bathroom. But to Elena, it felt like heaven after what they had been through. He handed her a bowl of pap and akara. Eat, my child, he said. You'll need strength. Life doesn't stop because people are wicked. Elena managed to smile. Thank you, sir. I'll find a way to repay you. You already have, he replied softly. You remind me that goodness still breathes in this world. Her mother's cough worsened over the next few days. The medicine was running out, and Elena's savings were gone. She knew she had to do something fast. That evening, while washing dishes at the restaurant, she overheard 2 customers talking. I heard the mayor's office is hiring assistants for the upcoming charity project, one said. Elena froze, her hands still in the soapy water. Charity project? She whispered to herself. After her shift, she asked the manager, Sir, do you know where I can apply for that job at the mayor's office? He frowned. You? They won't take someone without connections. I just need a chance, she said, her voice steady. Please. He sighed. The application closes tomorrow. Try your luck. The next day, Elena borrowed Mr. Lady's cleanest shirt, ironed it carefully, and walked to the mayor's building. Her heart raced as she stood in the long line of applicants dressed in fine clothes. She looked down at her worn shoes and swallowed her shame. When it was finally her turn, the secretary barely looked up. Experience? I used to assist my aunt in her estate, Elena said cautiously. The woman scoffed. Estate work isn't administrative work. Next, Elena's voice trembled. Please, Ma. I can read, write, and type. I'll learn quickly. Something in her tone, the desperate sincerity, made the woman pause. Leave your name, she said flatly. If they call, they call. Days passed. Nothing. Then, one morning, while she was serving tea at the restaurant, a man in a gray suit walked in. Is there someone here named Elena? Her heart jumped. Yes, sir. That's me. He handed her a letter. Report to the mayor's office tomorrow at 8 a.m. You've been selected as a volunteer assistant. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. She ran all the way home, clutching the letter, laughing and crying at once. Mama, we got it. Miriam smiled weakly from her mat. See? I told you, my child, dawn always comes, even after the darkest night. Elena hugged her tightly. This is just the beginning. The next day, she began her new role, assisting in sorting donations for the city's homeless outreach. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest. She worked hard, never complaining, always staying late to help others. Soon, people began to notice her. Who's that young woman? Asked one of the supervisors. She's always the last to leave. That's Elena, another replied. The one from the poor district. She's got fire in her eyes. Within a month, the project director, a calm, kind man named Mr. Karim, took her under his wing. You remind me of my daughter, he said one evening. Determined, fearless. Keep working like this, and you'll go far. Elena smiled, grateful. Thank you, sir. I just want to make my mother proud. But fate had more tests waiting. One Friday evening, as Elena returned from work, she found her mother coughing violently, blood on her handkerchief. Panic clawed at her chest. Mama, hold on, I'll get help. She ran to the nearby clinic, pleading with the nurse. Please, she can't breathe. Help us. The nurse looked at her coldly. You need a deposit first. Elena's voice cracked. I don't have it now. Please, she's dying. The nurse shrugged. No deposit, no admission. Elena fell to her knees. Please, have mercy. Then a voice came from behind. Admit her. I'll handle the payment. She turned. It was Mr. Karim. He had followed her after noticing her distress when she left work early. Go with her, he told the nurse firmly. She's under my care. They rushed Miriam into a room. Hours passed. Elena sat outside, shaking, whispering prayers under her breath. Finally, the doctor came out, his face tired but kind. She's stable for now, but she'll need proper medication and rest. She's been holding this in too long. Elena broke down in tears of relief. Thank you, doctor. Thank you, sir, she said to Mr. Karim. He smiled. You did the hard part. You fought for her. That night, as she sat beside her mother's bed, she thought of how far they'd come, from being thrown out into the rain to finding kindness in strangers. Her mother reached for her hand. You see, Elena, not all battles are lost. Some are just delayed victories. Elena smiled through her tears. I'll win this one, Mama. For us both. Weeks went by, and Miriam began to recover slowly. Elena kept working, her dedication earning her promotion to full-time assistant. She started receiving a small salary, enough to cover rent, medicine, and even save a little. One afternoon, while sorting files, she came across a familiar name, Vero Holdings Limited. Her hands froze. That was her aunt's company. Her chest tightened. Why is this here? She whispered. Mr. Karim noticed her expression. Ah, the Vero Holdings case, he said. Corruption audit. Seems someone's been stealing charity funds under her name. Elena's heart pounded. For years, she'd dreamed of justice, but she never expected it to come this way. That night, as she walked home under the evening sky, her mind raced. She didn't know what destiny had in store, but she knew this. She was no longer the broken girl from the mansion. She was becoming someone stronger. If you're still watching right now, take a second to like this video, because Elena's comeback is just getting started. Her strength, her courage, her fire, it's proof that no storm lasts forever. Comment, justice will rise. If you believe every dark past can still find its light. It was a bright morning when the storm from the past finally returned. Elena was at her desk, reviewing paperwork when the door swung open. A group of officials stepped in, followed by a familiar, chilling voice. Elena. Her breath caught. Standing behind them, in a tailored suit and her signature pearl earrings, was Madame Vero. Her heart thudded. She hadn't seen her aunt in years, not since that night in the rain. Vero's gaze swept over her, disbelief flashing in her eyes. You? Here. The project director turned to Vero. Madam, please have a seat. The audit is routine. Vero forced a smile. Of course. I have nothing to hide. But when Elena's name tag glinted under the office light, that smile faltered. Mr. Karim noticed the tension. You two know each other? Elena's voice was calm, but her hands trembled slightly. Yes, she's family. Vero chuckled bitterly. Family? Don't flatter yourself. The room went silent. The auditors began laying out documents, receipts, donation ledgers, missing funds traced directly to Vero Holdings Ltd. Vero's confident tone began to crack. This is absurd. My company has always supported the mayor's initiatives. One of the auditors replied coldly. We have bank transfers showing otherwise. Funds meant for widows and children were diverted to your personal accounts. Elena sat quietly, watching the woman who had once humiliated her tremble under scrutiny. When the questioning ended, Vero turned to her. You planned this, didn't you? You planted my name here to ruin me. Elena rose slowly, her eyes meeting her aunt's. No, auntie. Life did that all by itself. Vero's face twisted in rage. Ungrateful girl. I took you in, fed you. You used us, Elena interrupted, her voice low but firm. You took everything from us. Our home, our peace, our dignity. You called it help, but it was slavery. The room fell into heavy silence. Elena took a deep breath. You thought power meant stepping on others. But real power is standing tall without crushing anyone beneath you. Vero esse jotaitend. You'll regret this. Elena gave a faint, calm smile. I already did years ago. I don't regret it anymore. Security escorted Vero out moments later. Her furious protests echoed down the hallway, but they didn't shake Elena this time. That night, Elena sat by the window of her small apartment, staring at the city lights. Her mother's laughter drifted from the kitchen, soft, peaceful. For the first time in years, Elena felt light. Not because her aunt had fallen, but because she had finally risen. Months passed. The charity program grew, and Elena's name became known among local organizations. One evening, Mr. Karim called her into his office. Elena, he said, smiling, you've done exceptional work. The council wants to sponsor your proposal, a rehabilitation center for women starting over. Her eyes widened. Mine? Truly. He nodded. You've lived the struggle. That's what makes your vision real. Elena blinked away tears. Thank you, sir. I don't even know what to say. Say you'll keep going, he replied gently. The world needs more stories like yours. And she did keep going. Within 2 years, the Horizon Home for Women opened its doors, a safe space for widows, single mothers, and victims of abuse. Elena managed the center with compassion and strength, never forgetting where she came from. The day of the grand opening, a large crowd gathered. Cameras flashed, reporters took notes, and the mayor himself came to cut the ribbon. As Elena stood at the podium, she scanned the audience. And then she froze. At the far back, near the gate, stood an older woman in a faded wrapper, her face proud and tear-streaked. Her mother. Beside her, unexpectedly, stood Desmond, Vero's son. He looked thinner, humbled. When the event ended, he approached quietly, Elena, he said, I came to say, I am sorry for everything. After the investigation, Mother lost everything. She's not well. Elena studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. I forgive you, Desmond. I forgave her too. I just can't forget. He lowered his head. That's fair. Miriam stepped forward and hugged her daughter tightly. You did it, my child. You turned pain into purpose. Elena smiled through her tears. We both did, Mama. We both survived. Later that night, after the guests left, Elena sat by the fountain outside the news center. The moon reflected on the water, calm and full. She whispered, Papa, I hope you're watching. We made it. A gentle breeze passed, carrying the scent of flowers, and for a moment, it felt like an answer.